Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much for this opportunity to contribute to this, the first reading of the Radiation Safety Bill, which will be referred to the Health Select Committee. I'm a proud member of that Select Committee, and I look forward to debating the issues that we've heard tonight with my committee members. And I want to draw the House's attention to the relevance of this piece of legislation to the Health Protection Amendment Bill. I also want to draw the House's attention to the process that began in 2002 with the Ministry of Health review of the Radiation Protection Act 1965, which sees us in the House tonight debating this updated piece of legislation. Now, the aim of this bill is, and I quote, to provide an enhanced legislative framework for radiation safety that responds effectively to the range of technological, scientific and organisational changes that have occurred over the last 5 decades while the current Act has been in force. It also enables ratification of key relevant international instruments. Those international instruments are the International Convention for the Suppression of Acts of Nuclear Terrorism and the amendment to the Convention on the Physical Protection of Nuclear Material. The intention of this bill is to protect the health and safety of people and to protect the environment from the harmful effects of ionising radiation. What are the harmful effects of ionising radiation? They are burns, damage to tissues and organs, they lead to increased cancer risk, and they also lead to brain damage in fetuses and fetal brain development. Of particular note is that non-ionising radiation, such as that produced by electromagnetic fields defined as cell phone towers, Wi-Fi, microwave ovens, ultraviolet tanning machines and power lines, fall outside of this bill. And it seems to me the difference between ionised and non-ionised is actually about low frequency and shorter wavelengths. So hold that thought. So in terms of non-ionising radiation, it's regulated in New Zealand under relevant health, safety and environmental consumer legislation. Therein lies the relationship between this piece of legislation and the Health Protection Amendment Bill. In New Zealand, the Ministry of Health oversees an interagency committee on the health effects of non-ionising fields. So we monitor in New Zealand research into extremely low frequency electric and magnetic fields and radio frequency fields. So every year this group reports to the Director General of Health, and there are representatives from government, industry, the academic sphere and consumer groups, noting that the WHO every year has ongoing projects that investigate possible health effects of these particular cell phone towers, Wi-Fi, power lines, ultraviolet tanning machines, and a report is actually due later this year. There has been research from the Agency for Research on Cancer that the WHO oversees, and something that I've just read is that actually there is a finding that low radio frequency electromagnetic fields are possibly carcinogenic, that is, they cause cancer, and the region at which radiation becomes ionising, so from non-ionising to ionising, is actually not well defined. Now, the relevance to this piece of legislation that we're debating actually has to be seen within the suntan sunbedding issue, and we have had submissions from, this is the ultraviolet tanning machine, and we have had submissions before the Health Select Committee that these particular devices actually increase risk in melanoma or to melanoma of users, and in fact when we look at the statistics here in New Zealand, there are 2,000 new cases of melanoma every year and 350 deaths. And so I think that actually is the point about all the debate that we've had in the House tonight between ionising, non-ionising. It's actually about what causes cancer. And so it seems to me that there's more and more evidence that is saying that these sunbeds actually do cause cancer. And if that's the reality of that particular piece of equipment in New Zealand, and if the government is adamant that those devices shouldn't be included in the radiation safety bill, then obviously it's incumbent on them to do something about that particular device in the Health Protection Amendment Bill. The Cancer Society, the Dermatological Society, the Melanoma Foundation, there have been a number of organisations that have made submissions to our Select Committee that say, in fact, these ultraviolet tanning machines are causing cancer. And so if the government, as I said earlier, and I noted Jackie Dean's contribution tonight, she's also a member of the Health Select Committee. We're not talking about microwaves and having them licensed, and actually we're very specifically talking about ultraviolet tanning machines. So I think the Select Committee has got an opportunity in the next few weeks when we discuss the summary of submissions and take advice from the officials. I think the evidence is becoming more and more clear that these tanning machines should be banned, as they have been in Brazil, as they have been in Australia. And so if the argument on that side of the House is that non-ionising machines are safe because they don't create cancer, and in fact what we do know now from current research is that these ultraviolet tanning machines actually do create cancer and do lead to 2,000 New Zealanders getting melanoma every year and 350 New Zealanders dying every year because they have melanoma, then it's going to be incumbent on them within the Health Protection Amendment Bill to do something about it. And a lot of people have talked about that tonight because the science is not so clear. It may be clear from other people's perspective that cell towers, Wi-Fi, power lines and ultraviolet tanning machines aren't causing cancer, but if the evidence is clear that it is, then we as a Select Committee obviously have an opportunity to review that evidence and to make recommendations to this House about whether or not the non-ionising ultraviolet tanning machines should be taken care of within that piece of legislation. So as a member of the House Select Committee, I too look forward to the debate and discussion that we will have. It's timely, obviously, that we have the intersection of these two bills, the Radiation Safety Bill and the Health Protection Amendment Bill, because I think it's incumbent on all of us to always keep in the forefront of what we do principles. And those are principles about health and safety, protecting the interests of all New Zealanders. And so I look forward to those discussions and deliberations, and hopefully we can have a constructive conversation about ultraviolet sunbeds. And if they don't have a place in our society, I hope we have the courage, as other countries have, to ban them. Kia ora.